Hey, what's up everyone? This is Eli from Checkit.com here with an After Effects tutorial on everyone's second favorite day of the week, Effects Friday. Holy crud, I say that fast. But anyway, I'm so excited I finally made 3 tutorials for you guys this week. I kind of like it too. I might start making 3 tutorials every week. It's kind of cool. This is a very highly requested tutorial from one fan who just keeps asking us to do this. It's called Acid Rain. He really wanted to know how they did this, so I'm going to show you. It's using particulars, so this is a kind of preset heavy tutorial, but you can do all the 3D and stuff within After Effects. It's just the acid rain, like the little sparks and everything like that you have to do with particulars. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do this today. This is what I came up with right here. You guys already saw it in the intro. I didn't want to copy it exactly the same because the people that made that preset might get mad. They're selling that for like $99. So yeah, I'm saving you guys some money if you guys want to use this as an intro. So go ahead and go download the template if you want it for free at Checkit.com. Please give the video a like because I'll be including all this stuff for free. And it's a lot to do for free, you know? So you help me out, I help you. You know, that gets us more attention on YouTube. More people can find us. It's awesome. So leave a comment because I leave all my favorite comments at the end of the video. Oh, look at that. There's the top comments right there. So yeah, if you want to be in the next week's top comments, leave a comment. If I like it enough, I'll put it in next week's tutorial. Yeah, let's get to the video now. Alright, goodness. What we want to do is create a new composition by clicking this button down here, making it 1920 by 1080 because Check It is all about that full 1080p. Just 6 seconds is fine. Okay. Now let's hit Control or Command Y, and we're going to start out with making the ground. So we need stuff to catch the shadows. So let's just call this ground, and I'm actually going to be making this project a lot like the color scheme and everything like that as the actual Acid Rain one. So I picked a nice brown color. Okay, and now what we want to do is go to the rotation tool. You go up here and click that. So what we want to do is make sure you hit F4 to bring up these options right here. We want to click the little 3D box, and then we can click and hold Shift and click on the layer and just put it on a flat plane and then drop it down in the Z axis. Okay, so there we go. And now what we want to do is we want to hit S to bring up the scale, and we want to just scale this up a lot. Let's go down to like 1000. Goodness, that's massive. That's what she said. Okay, so now what we want to do is create a new camera. I'm going to make mine 15 millimeters. The other one I used was 24, but in this one you could tell it was an extremely wide angle camera, so I'm going to be using a 15 millimeter. Okay, and now what we want to do is right click, go new text, and let's just create some easy text. I mean, let's do something no one's ever done before, like check it. Yeah. And now what we want to do is we want to switch the camera like from active camera to left, and we want to make sure that we have the check it layer in 3D or whatever text you're using, and we're actually going to drop it down to be right on top of this layer. So I zoomed in using the scroll wheel, and then I'm holding space down and clicking and dragging so I can get down here, and I just want to make sure that this little dot right here is all the way to the bottom. Now I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to go back to the active camera. I'm going to zoom out, and right now it's kind of boring. I know. We could change the camera angle later, but right now let's right click, go new, light, and let's just make it a nice spotlight. Doesn't matter what color you make it. You can make it whatever color you want, but I'm doing a kind of tannish color because that's what they used in the other tutorial, or not tutorial, the presets. Fall off, I'm going to go none. Cone angle, definitely not that far out. Make sure cast shadows is on. All these we're going to be tweaking ourselves, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to hit OK, and already you have a nice look right here. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to call this one right here, let's just call it highlight. Okay, and then let's duplicate it, and highlight 2 we want to call backlight. Cool. So now we want to go from 1 view to 4 views left. Alright, and now we just kind of have all these angles right here. I'm going to switch this angle from active camera to left, and that changes just this one. And now we're going to select the backlight. There we go, right there. We're going to take it, put it all the way to the back. Let's raise it up a little bit, And this is all just depending on how you want it to look. You know what I mean? Cool. So we'll aim it right about there. We'll aim this one down. Cool. Alright, so now let's go back to the active camera. Let's actually switch this one from front to active, just so we can kind of see what's going on here. Alright, that's looking okay, but what we want to do is we want to go into our text options by dragging this, or clicking this little arrow right here and going down to material options, and we want to switch cast shadows from off to on. There we go. And now what we can do is, let's actually switch this one back to front, or actually let's switch this one to front. And then let's just make sure these are both, you know, directly in the middle, so we're not getting weird shadows. Cool. Alright. And then let's switch this one back to the left. And then just mess with it, really. Get something you like, you know. You gotta like it, or else why are you doing this? I mean, this is gonna be your new intro. Am I right, playa? Probably not. But yeah, okay, let's go back and actually go from 4 views to 1 view. Let's go to active camera. Cool. Alright, so now it's lit up pretty good. Now what we can do is we can mess with the 3D options within the check it. So let's drop it down. Let's make it look like the other one by going here, and let's switch the bevel style to convex. Bevel depth 2 is fine. Extrude depth, not too big. Cool, that should be just fine because that's what they did in the other tutorial. But actually, you know what, I didn't even really like how the other one looked, so let's actually make it a little bigger. Cool. And now we're getting kind of the same look. You see how cool that is? But this angle is kind of weirding me out. So let's go into the camera options, and let's go up to here and go to the orbit camera tool. Whoa. Alright, let's now go to the X and Y. Kind of angle this better, so we can get a better look at everything. It's turned out pretty cool. You know, these shadows are really, really dark right now. But here's something weird, alright? If you go up to ray traced, and you go to the options, and you go to like your final render, which would be a 3, then go OK, and then we go from third to like full. I'll let this load real quick, and then I'll show you guys what's weird about this. Alright, so as you can tell, some nice diffusion is going on here. So you can't always trust what's going on in the third quality at 1 draft, you know, in the ray trace settings. So I just want to point that out, but this is still way too dark for me, so we can tweak those settings now. Let's go into here, go back down to 1, okay, and drop this down back to third so everything renders fast because ray trace takes forever. Let's go back to here. And let's keep messing with these settings. The light is hitting way too far back. So what I want to do is, I actually want to drop down the intensity and the cone angle. So it's not too crazy large. Shadow darkness, I want to bring that way down. And the diffusion will bring that up. So, okay. That makes that back shadow look a million times better. Let's actually go back to left. Go to this. Raise it up a little bit. Maybe a little more. See how that looks. Active camera. That looks a lot better to me. Alright, now the back one. Let's go to the backlight. Let's mess with these. Shadow darkness is way too high. Oh my goodness. We want the diffusion to be way up on that. Maybe not that high. Let's actually change the intensity. Maybe we want to change that a little bit. Maybe make it brighter too. Get those highlights back there. Alright. The cone a little wider. Let's actually make this one back up to 180. See how that looks. Yeah, I like that. Cool. And then let's go to the left. Actually raise it up. Actually, push it back a little bit and raise it up. And of course, aim it up there. Go back to active camera. This text, it's a little light for me. The actual one looked different. It was more of a brownish, like a lighter brown, but still brownish. Alright, that's looking better. Maybe even a little tidbit brighter. Just a tidbit. Alright, awesome. So, we are starting to get that look. If you can't tell, I actually like how mine's looking better. So, I guess we can get to the actual acid rain now. So let's right click, or just do that shortcut I showed you before, Controller Command Y, and let's make it a black solid. And let's just call this rain. Okay. And let's go to the effects and presets. And what we want to do is we want to type in part for particular. Let's click and drag it onto rain. And now what we want to do, this is where you guys really need to pay attention, okay? So for emitter, we'll just keep it at 100, but we'll change it from point to box. And then we'll go down to the velocity. We'll change that to just 10. And for X, we want to spread it out a ton. Okay? I mean, just absolutely a lot. Emitters for Y, down to 0. For Z, way out again. Maybe a little bit for Y. Just a little bit though. Not that much. Cool. Drag them up just above our project. Okay, now if we go to the left again, we can just make sure that it's actually above, which it is. So if we click on rain in particular, we can see that we raised it above our project. Okay, now we can go back to our active camera. And how we get the rain effect is, let's actually move this up to like 200. And we'll go down to the physics. We'll change it from air to bounce. And then gravity, we have to just turn this up a ton. I mean like 600, so it falls really fast. And here's a little trick that you guys might not have known. In the emission extras, we want to change pre-run to 100. And what that does is, it makes it so it's already falling in the first frame, so you don't have to cut it or anything like that. And I'm noticing that the X, we actually have to spread it out more. And let's actually do that for Z as well. Alright, so now that we have bounce selected, we can actually go into the bounce settings. For floor layer, we want to change that to ground. Alright, and we want that on infinite plane. And then, collision event, we want to go down to kill. You'd think you'd want it to bounce, but what we actually want to do is bring up the aux system right here, where it says emit, we want to change it to act bounce event. So when it bounces, with the probability, let's just change that down to like 50, because we don't want every single one of them, creating a splash. Particles on collision, let's bring that down to 5. Life, it's just 1 second. 1 second should be good. Velocity, we don't want it too crazy. Maybe like 21. Actually, no, probably like around 35, because we want them to shoot out. Size, we want to make that 2. Actually, maybe 1. Yeah. Alright, so now for opacity over life. Now we need to change that down to this gradual decay. And we want to change the color to color from main all the way up to 100. So then the particles are also white, or whatever color we change or want the particles to be. Alright, so for gravity, we actually need to turn this up a lot. I'm going to do 200. You can do whatever you want, really. I'm not the bossy. Goodness. Here's the important part. For control from main particles, inherent velocity, you need to mess with this until you get the effect that you want. So I'm going to zoom in here. I'm just going to watch what we've created so far. So I'm going to click 0 so it pre-renders. Alright, so it's actually kind of hard to see right now. So I'm actually going to put this up to half. And then I'm also going to go up to here, and I'm going to go from, where is it? The particle settings. We need to mess with these particles. So you can go glow sphere, but I'm going to do my own glow for it. So I'm going to keep it on sphere. Life, let's turn it up to 5 seconds. Let's go down to size and change this down to 2. Alright, size random, I'm not going to do that. Size over life, we're just going to leave that alone. And then go down some more. And that's pretty much all we want to do for right here. So if we go back down to here as well, let's change the size from 1 to 2 so we can actually see the particles better. Next, we want to go down to rendering. And we want to change the motion blur from comp settings to on. And then we want to change it from linear to subtle frame, or sorry, subframe sample. Like, I don't know why I just said subtle frame, that's weird. And then we want to change the levels from 8 to 20. Because if you couldn't tell, it got a lot of space in there. And disregard, nothing, it's good on nothing. So you can always boost the opacity right here too if you think your particles are too dark. So I'm actually going to boost it by 7. Alright, cool. So now I'm going to hit 0 and see what we've done so far. Alright, so looking at this, I can tell that the bounce is way too high. So what we need to do is we need to go back up. And right here where it says bounce, we need to change that. Let's bring it down to like 15. Slide, let's bring that all the way down. Maybe turn up the bounce a little more. You can tell right here, we want some bounce, just not too much. Velocity, let's turn that up. To 0 and see what we've done. I mean, that's looking okay, but really what we want is these things bouncing up higher. So we need to turn the bounce up a little more, and just until we get, oh, that's a little too much. Goodness, you need to find that sweet spot. Let's actually go down here. Inherent velocity, let's turn that up. Oh, that's way too much. Alright, change the size to, let's just see how this looks now. Alright, that's actually looking really good to me. So, now, if you're happy with your project, I think this is looking pretty good. We can add some animation to the camera. Let's go back to the orbit tool. Let's go to our camera options and actually do the keyframe position for right there. And let's start with a upper angle like in the intro. Let's actually do kind of a twist, huh? That'd be kind of cool. So let's actually go up to here and go to the X and Y. And go to the orbit, twist it to our X and Y tracker. Oh, cool. Maybe a little too twisted right now, so we have this really basic animation. If I go down to quarter, you guys can see. I'm gonna hit 0 just so it renders fast and you guys can see the basic animation we just did. Alright, so here's the animation we created together. Aren't we awesome? It is pretty cool, huh, guys? So I guess the last things we need to do is create those flares and make these particles look a little better. So the way I like to color the particles is I like to go over to here and type in glow. Let's go stylize glow. Click and drag it over onto the rain. And let's actually boost this up to half quick so we can actually see what's going on. Alright, let's zoom in. Actually, let's not zoom in, goodness. Alright, so threshold, we need to turn this down a lot. Glow intensity, we need to turn this up. And glow radius, we need to turn this up a little bit. Alright, so I'm kind of liking this now. It's looking a lot better. So let's hit 0 and let's just check out and see how we're liking it so far. Alright, that's not looking too bad. But the last thing I kind of want to tweak before I'm going to call this good is I'm going to go back down into the motion blur right here. For the opacity boost, just 1. Okay, cool. And now let's mess with these shadows and get those looking good. So let's go back up to ray traced. Let's go up to 2 just so we can see that diffusion, even though it's going to look a lot more pixelated than anything that we're going to see in the end. And I can already tell that the front one needs to have darker shadows. So let's go into the highlight and turn up the shadow darkness. All right, cool. I like that. So now it's actually looking pretty freaking awesome. The last thing we want to do is add in that lens flare. So let's right click, go new, solid, or you can hit Control or Command Y. And let's just call this flare. Okay. Let's go over to effects and presets, type in flare. And we're just going to use optical flares because even though I taught you guys how to make your own flares last week, it's still like optical flares is still the best flare plugin out there. So I'm actually going to turn back down this quality too. Okay. Render mode on transparent. I'm going to turn this down too so we can actually see everything and arrange it. I'm going to change the source type from 2D to 3D. And let's go up to options and find one that we like. I like blindness because it reminds me of a better version of what they used. So I'm going to hit OK. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn down everything because it's pretty bright right now. So let's start by changing the blending mode to screen. That should help a little bit, but it didn't really. So let's bring down the brightness to like 60. All right, position. Let's mess with it, zoom out. All right, so your main goal is to make this flare visible, or at least having an effect on the overall picture through the entire animation. So we'd want to make it start out right about here, and let's toggle on all these right here. Go through it. It kind of goes away through the middle, which is okay, but then I want it to come back in. So let's go to the last frame. Actually move it until it gets to a point where it's affecting the picture again. Okay, right about there. All right, let's see how this goes through our entire picture now. Okay, so now we can actually move this up just a little bit. Messing with flares in 3D is kind of strange, guys, but it still makes the picture look way more awesome in the end. So with that little animation, I say that's good, and I think that looks freaking amazing. So what we need to do now is set this thing up to render in the final aspect. So I'm not going to do 3 this time because I did 3 for whatever one I did in the intro. So I'm actually going to set this one to 2 because it took like an hour and a half to render. So I don't want to do that again. I'm sorry, guys. You guys can render it at full though, at 3 and everything like that. But I'm just going to stick with 2. So with that, I'm going to render, and I'm actually going to save this first just in case. So I'm hitting Control S right there. Let's go Acid Rain 2 because I'm going to be providing this file for you guys. Now let's go up to Composition and go to Add to Render Queue. And now let's just make it whatever we want. I'll just make it H.264. I don't care. Go here. Let's go to render. Alright, and with that, it's going to render for a while, even when it's on 2 quality. So, thanks for watching, guys. I really hope that I helped you guys out, and I really hope that the guy that requested this, got something out of this. I'm really happy that I've been able to make so many tutorials for you guys, and that you guys have been so positive about everything. So, thank you so much, and I guess I'll see you guys on Sunday or Tuesday whenever I make my next tutorial. So, thanks for watching, guys. Peace!
It can't rain all the time. Fired up! shore and slice your corpse. Grab the 44 and massacre, but I can't die, so I'll pass the torch. Fire in your eyes and gas on the floor. A match for my love as I laugh at your torture. You attacked a girl, and now you're trapped in my world. It ain't no hangman's joke. I fade through shade and smoke. The pain you gave was unprovoked, so I slay the gang in one stroke. These lyrics that I wrote, she heard them as I spoke. So I raced through the maze of a city to erase the faces I was laid to the grave with the crow. And they're already dead, they just don't know it yet. Cause I follow them in, explosions blow their heads. It's the devil's night while I'm watching them walk, cause I'm ready to fight, but I